At the start of the 19th century, European identity was a simple hierarchy. If you ask someone who they wouldn't say French or German. They were subjects, property of sprawling empires and absolute monarchs. Millions of people lived side by side while sharing almost nothing. They spoke regional dialects that were mutually unintelligible and operated under local laws that changed at every river crossing. In 1848, a French artist named Frédéric Soriot published a print that visualized a radical alternative. He depicted the peoples of the world grouped into distinct nations, marching directly past the shattered remains of crowns and royal scepters. Soriot's print was a utopian vision, but turning it into a reality required a massive engineering project. Someone had to figure out how to take millions of disconnected peasants and convince them they were part of a single nation. The French Revolution in 1789 provided the first blueprint. The revolutionaries dismantled the monarchy and explicitly transferred political sovereignty to the masses. To cement this new bond, they introduced engineered concepts like la patrie, the fatherland, and le citoyen, the citizen. These terms legally linked a unified community to a single set of rights under a constitution. They then installed a centralized administrative system. This system enforced uniform laws across the new borders and standardized everything from weights to measures. Cultural unification followed. The state actively discouraged regional dialects, forcing Parisian French as the sole common language for the entire populace. This legal and linguistic framework created the structure of a nation. But a shared dictionary doesn't necessarily create a shared destiny. To bind the people's interests together, the state needed a financial anchor. Shared language has little value if a merchant is blocked by local tariffs and incompatible currencies at every town border. An emerging middle class began pushing for economic liberalism. They demanded the freedom of markets, the ability to move goods and capital across regions without state interference. In 1834, Prussia led the creation of the Zollverein. This customs union absorbed dozens of fragmented German states, dissolving internal borders to form a unified boundary. Next, a chaotic mess of over 30 regional currencies was slashed down to just 2. A massive new railway network physically connected these regions, turning localized trade into a national enterprise. When your paycheck and travel depend on the health of the entire territory, your perspective shifts. By tying individual prosperity to the survival of the state, these reforms successfully engineered a sense of national belonging. Even with these systems in place, nation builders faced a cognitive gap. They had to make an abstract, invisible concept like the Republic understandable to an illiterate public. Artists solve this by deploying the female allegory. They personified the nation, turning an abstract idea into a tangible character. France popularized Marianne. Every detail of her image, from the red cap to the tricolor cockade, was selected to brand the values of liberty and the Republic into the public consciousness. Germany created Germania. Her image communicated the core values of the German Empire through complex visual codes. Her crown of oak leaves signified heroism, while the sword in her hand indicated a constant readiness to fight for the territory. These statues and stamps functioned as political technology. They transformed public squares into classrooms, persuading passersby to identify with the state through visual symbols. The 19th century saw a total transformation of the social order. The absolute power of the crown was replaced, step by the concept of the sovereign nation. This was a 3-part assembly process: the transfer of political sovereignty, the integration of economic territory, and the deployment of cultural allegories. This engineering project succeeded so thoroughly that it became the invisible operating system of the entire globe today. Our anthems, our unified economies, and our flags are the results of this deliberate construction project. They represent a successful assembly of a collective identity, where once there was only a vacuum.